also. So today we have the honor and privilege of having Jenny Harkleroad. She is going to talk to us about the 17 seconds to wellness and success. So we all have 17 seconds at least. So Jenny, would you like to share a little bit about who you are and what good you bring into the world?
Absolutely. My name is Jenny Harkleroad. I'm the owner of Balanced You. I'm a subconscious mind change coach and teacher. I'm the mother of four, which is my greatest claim to fame. And I love coaching people privately, in groups. I have an app that goes along with Robin's book. My app is called Leap Transformation. So I'm curious to read the book and see if there's any similarities. I also certify coaches and healers in my work, which is called Summit Transformation. I believe that the subconscious mind is a million times more powerful than the conscious mind. So if you really want to make some change in your life, the best way to do it is to start with a subconscious mind. So that's my favorite thing to do is help people transform their health and wellness, their relationships, and their professional success with their subconscious mind.
How exciting. Such good. I'm so glad to be here with you again because I got to visit with Jenny a little while ago and it was just so wonderful to find out what she's doing and the whole point of networking, so it was really good for us to have a coffee chat and to be able to, share what we do so that we keep in the back of our mind when there's somebody that has something that they're asking questions about, we know who to send them to. And that's the whole point of the networking with Ladies Power Lunch and collaboration. Dr. Davia is our queen of collaboration, and she's always telling us to find collaborative partners within our group. If you need something, somebody in this group has got to know something about that. And I have to say, even with writing my books, most of my collaborations have been from Ladies Power Lunch. So this is a perfect place to find partners to partner with so that it's even bigger than what we could do on our own. And I'd like to just go ahead and ask Jenny if you'd go ahead and start your workshop. And I think that would probably be a good time, unless anybody else, anything else they want to say before Jenny gets started. We good? Okay, Jenny, the floor is yours.
All right. Hey, I'm going to start off with a quote this morning. It's by Albert Einstein, and he says, "You can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it." And so many times in life, that's exactly what we do. We're in a situation and we want to solve it, and we're working with that same mind to solve it. And that same mind can't solve the problem that it created. And so, how do you get outside of your mind? How do you create a new mind to create a new reality? So, today, that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. And the interesting thing is that our past affects our future. And so, today, we're going to dive deep. We're going to figure out what you want different in your life. And then we're going to use a process that I created that's going to find a past memory that's blocking you from achieving that goal. We're going to clear up that past memory. And then I like to say you're cleared for takeoff to achieving your goal because there's no more subconscious block to it. So like I mentioned, the subconscious, according to scientists, is a million times more powerful than the conscious mind. That's a lot of power. And so when we can tap into that power, everything changes. Now, I didn't learn this in a book. Well, maybe I learned that in a book, but most of the things I talk about, I didn't learn in a book. I learned it the hard way. It was August 10th of 2013. I was standing on this mountain ledge with my husband, and he said, "If I was young and in shape, I'd jump off of here." Well, I'd been going to the gym every day. I thought I was young and in shape, and I decided to jump. And when I landed, I heard a crunch in my back, and I couldn't move. And he tried to get me up, and he couldn't. Our friends were with us. They tried to get me up. They couldn't. He ended up calling 911. 911 sent in a ground crew. They hiked in 45 minutes later, getting to me. True story. There were literally vultures circling me when they got to me because I was making those dying type of sounds, apparently. They decided they couldn't get me off the mountain. They called Life Flight, and I was zip lined up to a hovering helicopter and taken to the hospital. And when I got there, they told me, "You broke your back." Wow, what does that mean? I remember saying, "Does that mean I can't go to Ashtanga yoga tonight?" Like, what does that mean? And they said, "Yeah, you're not going anywhere." And I had some thinking time. And at the time, I owned a large, successful real estate company and about 5 homes. And I married my high school sweetheart. We have 4 beautiful kids. And I was living the dream, it looked like, from the outside. But on the inside, I was suffering with chronic pain even before breaking my back. I was unhappy. I didn't really get along well with my husband. I didn't really like my career. And I just kept putting on a happy face because I was so financially successful. It was creating an amazing life where we could go on Disney cruises and do all the fun things. And every day I used to daydream, what if I could do something that I was really passionate about and really excited about? And then I would just tell myself, like, what are you talking about? Like, get back to work. Like, this, what you're doing is working. It's providing this amazing lifestyle, and just stay focused. There's nothing else you could do that would create something like this, is what I would tell myself. And so I'm stuck in bed thinking about my life and thinking, how am I going to fix it? Because, money doesn't buy happiness, they say. And it's true. It bought me a lot of cool stuff, though. But now I'm ready for happy. And how do I get happy? Because I've been saying positive affirmations for 20 years, and that hasn't worked. I've been reading books to date myself, listening to tapes, going to seminars. That hasn't worked. What's my problem? Why am I faking it till I make it, but I'm not making it? I'm just faking it. What is really going on? So I thought I would have 6 weeks of thinking time, but it turned into about 3 years of thinking time. Because that's how stubborn I am. Because if I would have gotten better right away, I would have gone back to my same old thing, my same old life. But 3 years later, I was finally ready to say, okay, fine. When I get better, I won't go back to the same old thing. I will change course. And so I tried everything to heal, all the natural things, all the unnatural things. I got rod screws and synthetic disc in my back. I mean, I tried everything to get better and nothing would work. And I finally met a medical doctor who told me that I could heal myself with my mind. A medical doctor told me this. I was like, wait, what does your MD stand for? Mind doctor, maybe. But no, he was a medical doctor. I didn't believe him, but I was desperate. So I tried it. 6 sessions later, I was completely healed. Completely healed. Not only could I sit in a chair and drive my car, I could do handstands and back bends. I became obsessed with the power of my mind. I went back to him and I said, hey, this is a miracle. I can't even believe this. I'm healed. And I have this laundry list of, it looked like Santa, what do you want for Christmas? The list that went on forever. I have this other list of things I want to fix about my life. Can you help me with these? And he said, of course, Jenny, you can do anything with the power of your mind. And so one thing by one thing on the list, we knocked them all out and literally transformed every area of my life. And yes, I'm still married to the same guy. We're about to celebrate our 30th wedding anniversary. Thanks to this process, because if it wasn't for this, I was done. I mean, I couldn't handle it anymore. But what I discovered was the problem was not him. The problem was me and how I was viewing and perceiving him in the relationship. And when I could change my subconscious to see the world in the way I wanted to see the world, instead of the way it was seeing the world automatically, everything changed. It was like putting on those rose-colored glasses. So I'm here to tell you that you can do anything with the power of your mind, from pain relief to making more money to healing relationships. For me, getting rid of allergies and phobias and motion sickness and losing weight. And I mean, the list went on and on and on. You can do anything with the power of your subconscious mind. So many times we focus on our conscious mind. So many times it's like, what do I need to do to achieve the goal? Here's the list. But if the subconscious isn't on board, it's only temporary. How many people say starting Monday, I'm going to eat healthy food, I'm going to exercise, all the things. And then, by Wednesday, they're not doing it. Why? Because the subconscious doesn't have a program that's supporting them. So they can only do it as long as they can consciously focus on it. But as soon as they lose conscious focus, they're back to their same old way. So I teach people how to change the subconscious program so they can be who they've been trying to be the whole time, and maybe who they already are before they got all those negative, limiting subconscious beliefs attached to them through their growing up and through their traumas and dramas in life. So today I'm going to take you through a process that I created. It's called a transformation question, and it's going to find a past memory that's blocking you from achieving a goal, and we're going to turn it around. So you ready to do it with me? All right, cool. Step one is, what do you want? What do you want different in your life? Oprah says the thing that makes people the most successful is they know what they want. Because if you know what you want, then you can head that direction. So if there was one thing that you could change today, you had a magic wand and you could change it, what would it be? And then you're going to write it down like a positive affirmation, but don't worry, it's not going to be a positive affirmation. We're actually going to program it into the subconscious mind. So write it in the positive, like it already exists. So if it has to do with money, maybe my bank account is always overflowing with cash. If it has to do with a relationship, I get along so well with whoever the name is. I'm just throwing out some examples. If it has to do with health and wellness, maybe I feel young and healthy and energized. So whatever the goal is, you're writing it really kind of the opposite of how it's showing up right now. You're flipping it over and writing it like it already exists. You want the statement to be first person, present tense, positive, short, and meaningful, just like a positive affirmation. You want to avoid words like no, not, can't, don't, won't. Those are a little bit harder for the subconscious to understand because the subconscious speaks in sensory language. Like, how do you feel? Don't. It's harder to grasp. So keep it in the positive. All right. So when you have your statement, give me a thumbs up. So I know you've got your goal statement ready. Okay, cool. Now what we're going to do, and in my process, there's a lot of different ways we go about this. Sometimes we just program the belief straight into the subconscious, but today I want to take you a level deeper and find a hidden block. So you're going to take this goal and you're going to set it aside. And now we're going to find a memory that's blocking you from achieving this goal. So what I want you to do is close your eyes, and I want you to think of any memory you do not like. Any memory. Doesn't matter if it happened this morning or 20 years ago or 50 years ago, it doesn't matter, whenever it happened, any memory you don't like. When something comes to mind, open your eyes. Perfect. All right. So I use muscle testing, and maybe later we can talk about that. But I just did a muscle test both for Marianne and Robin when you opened your eyes, and you guys are both on track. You have the right memory to work on. I don't know what it is. I just tested that that's the right memory. Okay. So now we're going to do a couple different things with that memory. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the block trapped negative emotions that memory still has within you. So when they say time heals all wounds, not true. The subconscious is timeless. And so those things are still trapped within the body. So we're going to release them, number one. Number two is your subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. Have you ever dreamt something and then woken up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in my pajamas. I'm not at Disneyland. Darn it. Right? Like you believe what you're imagining. Well, the same thing, the subconscious believes what you tell it. And so you can tell the subconscious to change a memory, to feel different about a memory. So that's the second process we're going to do is you're going to choose if you'd rather feel more positive about the memory. So instead of feeling mad or bad or sad or upset or frustrated or infuriated or angry or however you feel about it, would you rather feel loving, accepting, forgiving, compassionate, open, curious, worthy, something in the positive? That's one option. The other option is you can rewrite the memory. You can literally imagine it happening in a way different than what it actually did. And your subconscious will start to believe the new story. And as time goes on, it'll believe it more and more and more until at some point in your life, you're not going to quite be sure which is the real story because it believes what you program it to believe. And so right now, your job is to ask your heart, not your head, which one should you do? Path number one is feel more positive about reality. Path number two is change reality. Which one do you want to do? Feel more positive or change? We call feel more positive a transform. We call the change reality a rewrite. So do you want to transform or rewrite? Number one or number two? When you got it, you can open your eyes. Okay, Robin, which one did you go with? One or two? Two? Okay, that muscle test, like good choice for you. Marianne, you a one or a two? One? It's okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. That muscle test strong. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start in the same place. We're going to get rid of the block trap negative emotions from that memory. And then I'll take you down both paths. So Marianne, you'll be doing path one. Robin, you'll be doing path two. And I'll facilitate going back and forth so you can each do your path. All right, are we ready? Okay, so you're going to cross your arms, put your hands on your shoulders like this. As soon as you cross your body, it opens your brain bridge, corpus callosum, puts you in a whole brain state. You're going to close your eyes. You're going to imagine that there's a triangle out in front of you, and you're going to trace the triangle with your eyes. So your eyes are moving and your eyelids are shut. You're going to take some nice slow breaths, slowing your brain down into a more programmable state. You're going to imagine that through that triangle you're tracing with your eyes is a black hole where you're going to push any negative emotions that come up in the first part of this process when you're getting rid of those negative emotions still trapped in your body. So when you're ready, I want you to think about the memory that came up that you do not like. And I want you to search your body for block trapped negative emotions around that memory. Allow them to come to consciousness. And when they do, push them through the triangle you're tracing with your eyes into the imaginary black hole. When you're ready, search your body again for more block trapped negative emotions around that memory. Allow them to come to consciousness. And when they do, push them through the triangle you're tracing with your eyes into the imaginary black hole. When you're ready, search your body again for more block trapped negative emotions around that memory. Allow them to come to consciousness. And when they do, push them through the triangle you're tracing with your eyes into the imaginary black hole. Last time, search your entire being for block trapped negative emotions. Allow them to come to consciousness. And when they do, push them through the triangle you're tracing with your eyes into the imaginary black hole, letting all the negative feelings dissipate once and for all. When you're ready, you're going to uncross your arms and recross them so the other arm is on top. And now you're going to either transform or rewrite the story based on what you chose. So we're going to start with Mary Ann. You're going to go up to that triangle where that black hole used to be. You're going to pull in positive emotions. You choose which ones. They could be things like love, acceptance, forgiveness, compassion, worthiness, understanding, whatever positive emotions you'd rather feel about that memory. Pull them in through that triangle and let them wash over you like a warm shower, soaking into your skin and into your cells and into your memories, transforming the negative memory into a positive emotions. Robin, you're going to go up to that triangle and you're going to keep tracing it with your eyes. And you're going to replay this memory happening like you're watching it in a movie, except this time it's going to happen in the way you wished it would have happened instead of the way it did happen. So imagine it in a whole new way, going well, the whole memory with a happy ending as well. Just keep reimagining it in as much detail as you wish, feeling the emotions of the new memory. Marianne, go back to that triangle and pull in more positive emotions. Love, acceptance, forgiveness, compassion, worthiness, understanding. Let them wash over you like a warm shower, soaking into your skin and into your cells and into your memories, transforming the negative memory to positive emotions. Robin, keep tracing that triangle with your eyes and keep imagining the new story going the way you wished it would have happened instead of the way it did happen. Keep imagining it over and over and over again. Marianne, while tracing that triangle with your eyes, pull in more positive emotions. Love, acceptance, forgiveness, compassion, worthiness, understanding, joy, happiness, curiosity, openness, whatever positive emotions you want. Pull them in, let them wash over you like a warm shower, soaking in your skin and into your cells and into your memories, transforming the negative memory to positive emotions. Robin, last time, keep tracing that triangle with your eyes. Keep imagining the memory happening in the way you wished it would have happened instead of the way it did happen. Well, then you keep taking slow breaths. You have all the time you need. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right, nice work, ladies. If you have some water nearby, drink some water. This process causes heat in the brain and heat causes dehydration, so you don't want to dehydrate on my watch. All right, awesome work. The next step in this process is to look at your original goal. So that memory you just cleared up was a block keeping you from your original goal. So now that original goal is cleared for takeoff. So what can you do to help achieve that original goal? What action can you take? What can you do different? I want you to write something down that you can do. And it's best not to repeat the goal. It's best to do something about it.
And is this tied to the memory or tied to the affirmation that we created?
The original goal, the affirmation you
Okay.
created. Yeah. What action can you take to achieve this goal? What can you do? So if it's a money goal, maybe it's more follow-up with clients, more talks, more podcasts, more networking. If it's a health and wellness goal, maybe it's resetting those exercise goals or healthier food choices or commitment to the gym, going to bed on time, taking time for prayer, meditation, spiritual things. If it's relationships, maybe recommitting to more time together, to being more open and curious. Some ideas there. And then the memory that you transformed, is there any action you want to take around that memory? Do you want to write in your journal? Do you want to write a letter and shred it? Do you want to talk to somebody about it? Or do you feel like, I don't really feel like I need to do anything about it? How do you feel about that one? Is there an action to take? And if there is, what is it? Before I proceed, does anybody have any thoughts, comments, questions, or shares from that process?
Um, you, it was interesting. The first time you told us to close our eyes, just real quick, I saw a rectangle first. So
Oh,
is there a difference? Because I had to really try to find a triangle.
that's super interesting. I
I
love
know. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
what is that? Anyway,
Yeah, interesting.
it's
So
kind of fun.
that's really the difference between like a group setting or a private setting. You know, if we were just working together privately and you're like, hey, I keep seeing a rectangle, I might have said, well, go with a rectangle then.
Mm,
But it works either way. So
yes,
but yeah, so interesting that a rectangle came up for you.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it
Yeah.
was bright white. I mean, the outline was bright white.
Yeah, it's like a
So I
door.
had to really focus on making a triangle in the middle.
That's awesome. Good job. Good job, Mary
Fun.
Jane.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I loved, I've done a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditation and rewiring, but I'd never seen the arms crossed, and I
Yeah.
definitely like, I don't know, it felt different, and it felt like a protection to me.
Mhm.
Because I feel oftentimes when we're being led in experiences, we're
Yeah.
open, which is opening our energy to other people as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes we can like pick up on like what other people's experiences are, or at
Yeah.
least in my case, because I have a lot of open centers. And so for me, it just like I was like, oh yeah, I'm like grounded in my own body and I'm safe.
Yeah.
It's really
That's awesome.
beautiful. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And really the purpose of this is for brain rewiring it. It opens that brain bridge so that you can get your brain in a whole brain state and form new neural pathways between both hemispheres of the brain, which changes how you see things, changes your perception. So as soon as you cross your body, it does that. And it feels good too, like you said, because you can also keep your arms crossed and set them in your lap. And a lot of times I give that as an option, but 95% of the time, people prefer hands on the shoulders. And so sometimes I don't even give the other option because so many people love that feeling. Yeah, it's like giving yourself a hug while you do the work. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, one of the other coaches in Ladies Power Lunch, she was talking one time. She was telling me, to do this with the tapping because she does EMDR.
Yeah.
I do that. I do that a lot when I'm saying affirmations or I'm singing my little happy ditties to myself, that I make up. I just sit there and sing to myself and tap. So I like the crossing arm
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, that was good.
That's awesome. Good work, ladies. All right. So here's the thing to remember about the 17-second rule. The 17-second rule goes like this. A thought is an electrical signal in the brain for 17 seconds or less. But if it goes on for more than 17 seconds, it becomes a chemical reaction within your body. So you start to feel equal to the way you're thinking. When you feel equal to the way you're thinking, it attracts like thoughts to prove to you why what you're thinking and feeling is true. We call that a feedback loop. If that goes on for more than 68 seconds, it changes your energy field, which is responsible for what you attract and what you manifest in your life. So the moral of the story is you can't think negative for more than 17 seconds without it affecting your reality and affecting how you're feeling. And so what we need to do is to be more conscious of the story we're telling ourselves, because the story we're telling ourselves becomes true because we believe it and we change our energy field to match it and attract it. So if we don't like the story we're telling, we have to ask ourselves what I call the golden question, which is so cute. One of my clients just made a sticker that said this and put it on her water bottle. How would you rather feel? That's the golden question. How would you rather feel? Instead of believing this and feeling this, how would you rather feel? Now, I have an app. It's called Leap Transformation, Leap Like a Frog. It's in the App Store and it's also in the Google Play Store. So you can go there and get it. It's a free week trial and it's only $14.99 a month. And what the app does is once you notice you're telling a story you don't want to tell anymore, you go to the app and it asks you, how would you rather feel? Or what would you rather achieve? Or what problem are you trying to solve? Or what personal growth are you wanting to work on? And then with neuroscience and AI, it takes you through my brain exercises in a fun and gamified way to rewire your brain. Then just like I did with you here, it helps you set an action plan and track your progress. So number one is you have to notice that there's a story you're telling that you don't want to tell. You have to notice that you want to improve yourself. Michael Jackson's my favorite song, Man in the Mirror, right? You have to make the change here. Like if you don't like what's going on out there, if you change this, it changes the filter through which you see the world. So funny, I had a client one day and she said, nobody appreciates me. Nobody, not my clients, not my husband, not my kids, not my family, not my neighbors, nobody. So we did some work on it. She came back the next week and she's like, this is a joke, right? And I'm like, what do you mean it's a joke? She goes, did you call everybody and tell them to like appreciate me? I'm like, I don't know who your people are. How would I call them? Like, she's like, this is crazy. Like everywhere I go, everyone's like, I am so thankful for you. I appreciate you so much. She's like, what is happening? Well, we changed her belief. We changed her energy field. So that's what her brain picked up. Just like when you buy a new car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. Why? Because that reticular activating system in your brain notices it. So we got her brain to notice it and also attract it into her life. So she was seeing it and creating it. That's the power of your mind. So 17 seconds, it starts with that. What are you thinking? Do you like the story? If you don't, change it. You can change it in my app, super easy. Also in my app, you can cash in the coins you earn in my app to come to our Tuesday group sessions every week and do this work with a group. It's so much fun. So your subconscious mind, remember, it's a million times more powerful than your conscious mind. Psychologists say you have 50,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day, about 80% negative, about 90% a repeat of yesterday. That's a lot of stinking thinking. So that's why I created the app, because this is not a one and done. It's like getting your body in shape. What do you do to get in shape and stay in shape? You got to commit. Every day I walk. Once a week or twice a week, I lift weights. A couple times a week, I do yoga. Every day I eat a whole food, plant-based diet. Why? Because that's what I do to feel good, to look good, to be healthy, to be strong, right? It's the same as with your mind. It's a constant process working on the mind because life changes. I'm an empty nester as of 2 weeks ago. I didn't used to be sad and home lonely. Now I could get that way easily unless I switch my mind, right? I didn't have to work on that when I had 4 kids and all their friends at my house. I was like trying to stay sane, right? So life changes. And so what do you need to work on? It changes every day. You have different goals for the day, different focuses for the day. And you can use my app to work on whatever it is and continuously work on yourself to be who you want to be and feel the way you want to feel and create the life that you want to create. You can do anything with the power of your mind, but you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So you have to create a new mind, and creating a new mind is the easiest way, the best way to change your life. And my app is the cheapest and easiest way to do it. So I hope you'll give it a try, at least that free week trial, and use it and see what a difference it makes for you. It's my pleasure sharing this with you because it changed everything about my life. I may look like the same old Jenny, but I feel nothing like her. I love how I feel now from the inside out. I'm not faking it. I've made it to where I want to be. And every day I keep working on myself to keep being and keep staying in that state where I'm happy, joyful, loving, understanding, forgiving, healthy, all the different things that I want to be. I can create that in my life. And I'm so happy to have a solution, because in the past, my solution was faking it, and faking it wasn't working for me. Now I've made it, and I've made it because of the power of my subconscious mind. And so can you. So I hope you'll tap into this power and use it for good in your life, because I know you have so many good things that you're doing. It's amazing when you can feel so good and help others too. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I so
Good, thank
appreciate
you.
this. This is so good.
Thanks.
So since we don't need to do breakout sessions, we'll do them right here.
Cool.
So let's see. She's Dr. Davia asked us to think about the biggest takeaway, how we would implement based on the workshop. And so most of this, is built right in. What you just told us to do is exactly what she was asking us to kind of work on throughout the member match, the breakout rooms. So Robin, would you like to talk about whatever comes to mind for you, or what your takeaways were for that?
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's interesting because I know, like, with what you were talking about with the 17 seconds and all of that, and like just our subconscious, like repeating, like how much of that is repetitive each day. And what's interesting to me is how oftentimes a memory isn't even the exact way that it took place. It's what we took away from the experience and created it to be. And so rewiring it in that sense, where it's like you're recreating what that story is. And I am curious though, and from like a trauma standpoint, if something is like really traumatic and there's like abuse or something like that, like, or if you like from childhood, if it's not to like negate what you went through, but I'm curious if you ever look at it like, because I think in that sense where I would look at like, I don't know, like the positive, like I'm really good at looking back at my life and seeing like, okay, yes, I grew up with an alcoholic father, and that was very detrimental in many ways. And I've been able to, through the years, like look at like, okay, I can see how, I survived and made it through. and it wasn't always like as bad as it was, but also like not discounting that as well. So I'm curious, like, I know that's kind of a deeper question to dive into, but it's
Yeah,
like
no,
as
that's
you're
a
working through like some of the trauma that comes up
yeah,
out of
that's
a
a great
person.
question, and that's something that people ask me a lot, and a question I ask myself as well.
Yeah.
So, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor or psychologist or any of that. And when somebody comes to me and they've got some deep traumas and things that they've been through, my question is, my work is about transformation. And so if you need to talk to someone, if you want to like work through these things, I'm not the first step. Maybe you want to see a psychologist first and do some of that type of work. I'm here when you're ready to move forward with it. Now, maybe you can start there if you want to, or maybe you don't want to, right? So it's really up to you. The other thing is, it's up to you if you want to, just like Marianne chose path one, which was feel better about the memory. You chose path two, which was transform the memory. So which do you want to do, right? Do you want to see the good and what came out of it, or attach some positive emotions to what it was? Or would you rather just imagine it happened in a good way? And so that kind of depends on your personality too. For me, I like to rewrite things. I'm like, I don't even want to remember the bad stuff. Like, I want to imagine it happening really well. And when I first started doing this process, I thought I would remember reality and also remember how I rewrote the story. What I wasn't expecting is that the lines started to blur to where I started questioning myself, which was actually reality. And that helped me realize, wow, my subconscious is so powerful. Now I'm not even sure which the real story is, because my subconscious believed what I told it so much that now I'm starting to question the real story. I'll give you an example. So these are my books, my plant-based eating book, 101 Things I Wish I Knew Before I Fed My Children. Breaking to Be Me. This is my story of breaking my back and all how to get over chronic pain. And then my amazing Itty Bitty Magic Mind book. But this book, when I wrote this book, I sugarcoated the heck out of my story because my parents are alive and I didn't want them to disown me. I thought someday when they're gone, I'm going to tell the real story. I'm going to make a movie of the real story. Then I rewrote the story. And now when I give people this book, I feel like, oh my gosh, did I make that all up? Like it wasn't that bad. Like I literally feel like I kind of exaggerated the story because I rewrote it into the positive in my mind. But I would rather have it that way because now for the first time in my entire life, I have a phenomenal relationship with my parents when I didn't before because I was mad about my childhood, So did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Perfect.
I thought this was interesting for me. Mine was wrapped around because I'm an author and I do podcasts and I do Insight Timer, meditations and prayers and talks and different things like that. So I'm constantly writing and using my voice. And so, mine was around my third grade reading teacher who told me what a terrible reader I was,
Oh,
and because, back then we had to stand up at her desk and she gave us a book to read a portion out of. And so, I was reading my part and she stood there in front of the class or sat behind her desk and told the class what a terrible reader I was and how slow I was. And, and so I carried that
yeah.
energy of how unworthy and what a poor student I must be and so I just thought I was a really bad student all my life.
Yeah.
And then now to turn around and it's like now when I write or when I read or do that, it's like I'm if I don't get to do it, I'm just chomping at the bit. My heart hurts because I want to do it so much and it pleasures me so much. So changing that into for me, the statement that I made was, I am an outrageously abundant author.
Oh,
So it's like,
yeah.
I'm doing exactly what she told me I couldn't do.
Yeah.
But when we went into the triangle, and pulling out the emotions and the feelings that we wanted, I just felt compassion for her. I actually felt compassion for her because either she was having a really bad day, but she was kind of a grumpy teacher anyway. She just was always in sort of a bad mood. But, as a third grader, you don't know what her life was like, what she was dealing with. And so it was more of, I was actually kind of surprised when compassion popped out of the triangle for her.
Yeah.
Not just for me that, I want to feel the worthiness. I want to feel the acceptance for myself. We wrote an entire book on unmuted voices. Hello, using my voice.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a big thing for me because my trauma was religious trauma that kept my voice squelched.
Mhm.
You know, you're just a girl, you're just a woman, you don't matter. Only the daddies and the brothers and the men
Mm,
matter.
mm.
So, you know, that was held down. So
Yeah.
for me to even have a podcast or do Insight Timer or speak at all is like completely like throwing in the face of that
Yep.
kind of attitude of, no, I'm worthy of speaking up.
Of course.
You know, so that's been real interesting with this. So
Good job getting through that. And also amazing that today that memory still came up all of these years later,
oh
but I bet it's not going to come up after today. So notice that.
yeah,
My favorite thing is when I'm working with private clients a week later, I'll say, okay, how are you feeling about the memory? And they're like, what memory? I'm like, you remember last week they're like, what was it? And I'll tell them, oh, I forgot about that. Okay, well, how do you feel about it now? It's no big deal.
yeah,
So interesting how fast after all those decades,
yes,
then
yes,
all of a sudden just it's no big deal anymore.
yeah. It's like, so what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what?
Right.
I'm curious with that, are there times when you may need to repeat the exercise again with the same memory if it's not?
I have, but it's so rare.
Mm.
It's hardly ever, and thousands of clients a handful of times. And a lot of times it's kind of a different version of the memory,
Mhm.
So yeah.
I think sometimes I'm like, I have such a stubborn mind.
Mhm.
It's like,
You might want to change that belief.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, no, that's, yeah. There's
Do
something.
that one on the app. My mind is fluid and changes as I wish it to, or
Yes.
like that.
I love it.
The app also uses AI, so it'll give you lots of great ideas, which is super fun. You don't have to come up with your own stuff unless you want to.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I love that 17-second and 68-second because
Yeah.
my mentor, Abraham Hicks,
Yeah.
always talks about 17 seconds, 68 seconds. By the time you get to 68 seconds, you've got quite a bit of momentum going, and the law of attraction just keeps throwing you another thought like it. So yeah, watch those early on
Yeah.
thoughts. And two, so much of the time, since our emotions tell on our thoughts every time, that initial little oomph of, oh, that one doesn't feel good, or that I don't feel good, to catch it during that time when you go, what was I just thinking? Oh, it's that thought again, or it's that pattern of thought
Right.
that's making me feel like this. Okay, well, where do I need to switch it?
Yep.
Where do I need to switch it up and come out of that? Oh, this has been so good, Jenny. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marianne.
Is there anything else that, Robin, that you have that you want to talk about before we sign off? Because we're actually early today, but that's okay.
This is great. And I'm excited. I already downloaded the app, so I'll check it out.
Awesome.
I have to do things like, I'm like in the moment. I'm like, do it right now. So I remember.
There you go.
And if you guys love the app, I have an affiliate program on it. If you want to share it, just reach out to me and I can tell you more about that.
Awesome. Before you leave, Jenny, will you be sure and in the chat, because I think our helper Sandy, Dr. Davia's helper, will save the chat for us, and we'll be able to post that. And I'll add the books that I've offered. If you have another book, Jenny, or if you want to offer some of your books there, that would be wonderful. We would love to, keep that as a record for us, because there will be others who get to watch this on the replay.
Yeah.
They couldn't be here, and I'm sure the group that's going on retreat today with Dr. Davia will be watching it also when they get back. So let's see, as a reminder, all the LPL meetings, the monthly meetings, are on the third Mondays at 12:30 Eastern for an hour and a half. So be sure and mark your calendars ahead of time. I just end up putting them in my calendar, and then I register when the time comes, just so I know that it's always on the third Monday at 12:30 Eastern, and then I adjust it accordingly. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Jenny, so much. And Robin, it was so good to see you. I have missed seeing you. And be sure, if you have friends, if you're listening to the replay also, if you have friends that would love to be within this group where we intentionally support one another, this would be a great opportunity to bring a friend, another person that is an entrepreneur or a small business owner, or even in corporate, or maybe even retired. We're here to support one another. I think that's it. I think I covered all the bases for where we are. Again, thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Dr. Davia, and everybody have a great time on retreat. And we will see you all when you get back. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Bye.